All right, we're live.
We're live. All right.
All
I
right.
am so excited about today. I cannot tell you. We've got so much to share, so much to do, and so little time. So
That's right. That's right. Well, first off, everyone, thank you for attending. For those of you who weren't able to attend live, sorry, noon Central Time is sometimes a little strange, but you will have access to those recordings, and I'll make sure you get that. I'll send you an email, but they will be live on the event dashboard. So don't forget to clue into that. But that's kind of my initial intro. Let's go ahead and start this off. So obviously, welcome to your first automated AI system. This is going to be a 3-day event, and we're going to be working through some of the teaching concepts that Mark, you've been teaching for the last 3 decades, and
I'm getting old.
Yeah, well, you know, we're following along in your footsteps. But I spent the last half a decade working in real estate technology, working pretty well shoulder to shoulder with you and learning about these things. We wrote a book together, and that was kind of the foundation that built out this concept. And then I know you've been teaching some private AI-focused concepts with some of the work that you're doing right now. We'll talk a little bit about how I was able to bring you on board at Workflow Secrets again, and we're really glad to have you over here. But my name is Cody Stepp. I am one of the co-founders of Workflow Secrets. This is my other co-founder, also my father, Mark Stepp. And together, I am the architect of SAM 1.0, and together we are the architects of SAM 2.0. And we're really excited. We're going to be sharing with you guys a lot of things today, including how to build systems. And we'll dive into that in just a second.
Absolutely. So for the past, like you said, 34 years, actually, if I actually look back and think about it, systems have been the main focus of everything that I do. From I started off with a Microsoft Windows application many years ago. I transitioned into a web-based application and was the chief innovation officer there. Was able to do a lot of things, but you know, some of the things that we're probing into these days with AI and stuff, we really saw some real potential for doing some really great things. And I'm so excited about what we're going to show you today. Now, I do want to preface this a little bit in that there's so much more to come, okay? What you're seeing today is a culmination of what has been built by Cody as the 1.0. The 2.0 is something that we are foundationally just now getting to. So there's a lot that's not there, granted, but there's a lot coming. And because of the way it's being developed and designed and put together, it's very expandable. And I'm really excited about what's going to happen, in not only today, but in the very near future with the application. So
that's right. And today is the official launch of SAM 2.0. So that was the catalyst for this event starting. But what are we going to learn today? Well, very first and foremost, we're going to dive into what are systems, and specifically what are AI systems. We're going to look at how you can leverage them in your business, how you can use them to both engage with your leads, your customers, and your past clients, which ultimately is going to grow your business and drive a better experience. We're going to look at the power of a lead magnet. Now, this is a concept that I've gathered from lots of different people, but Alex Hormozi is probably the most familiar that I could say. And he talks about lead magnets. And if you think about what a magnet does, it attracts, right? And so a lead magnet is going to help attract the right people to you. And we're going to show you exactly how to do that today. You're going to walk away today with an actual lead magnet. And from there, we're also going to look at defining your voice within real estate, as well as the niche of real estate you specifically focus on. Now, maybe these are things we already know, but they're good refreshers. Maybe this is your opportunity to expand your understanding. And after that, you're going to actually get to hop into the system, build your first generation, and create that lead magnet that you can play into your system. So
this really comes down to the foundation of what every real estate agent needs, and we talk about it in the book about all the need for creating these systems and creating the parts and pieces of everything that you do. And for let me there we go. For what we're doing here, it's foundational in everything that we do. So it's extremely important that you go through this one piece here so that it builds upon the rest. And I'm sure that was, we were doing some technical stuff.
Yeah.
But just realize that even though this is very, very basic, and if you've already got this, great. You know, you're a step ahead. For those that don't have a niche, don't have lead magnets, don't have, it's foundational and we need it. So we want to go through that first, and then how do you use it within the AI system that we've got? So
that's right. Speaking of the AI system, if you have not yet upgraded for this event, on the thank you page, you guys signed up and there was a page and it offered you to get VIP access. Now, this is my fancy way of allowing you to get VIP access. What does VIP access come with? Well, if you sign up for SAM 2.0, you're going to get a 14-day free trial of the system. But more importantly, you're going to get to follow along and build out these systems with us. So it's actually really important. So you may have already skipped past that thank you page, and that's totally fine. We have a pre-event dashboard that would have come in that registration email. And it's on the screen right now, workflowsecrets.info/your first AI system pre-event. And on the second step, step 2, it says get VIP access free. Well, if you follow that, yes, I want VIP access, it is going to take you to sam.workflowsecrets.info. We have a special little back piece. So it's / code equals SAM VIP. But if you plug that in, or if you just click that blue, yes, I want VIP upgrade, now you can sign up for SAM 2.0, get a 14-day free trial. It's going to do a couple of things. First, it's going to start sending you a series of tutorials that I have built out with the ultimate goal of, at the end of the 14 days, you're going to know how to use the system. But it's also going to allow you to follow along as we work in SAM 2.0 during this event. And so it's going to be really important for you to get that VIP access, really get into the system. And I just really want to make sure that you have that. I will sweeten the pot for you, though. I have included in VIP access some additional training. So I have 2 different trainings. One is on building the golden goose, the repeat referral process. And then one is about how to create what we call a world-class client experience specifically for your past clients. And the other one is all about how to build a really great experience for birthdays. So these are 3 things that I absolutely love sharing with the real estate agents I get to work with. And time and time again, they become very fruitful. So these are going to be really big hitters, and they're free, included in VIP access. So you really got to upgrade. That's the big pitch for today. But let's go ahead. Let's get started.
One thing I would like to mention, though, is if you currently have access to SAM 1.0 and you maybe timed out, you know, you had the 14-day free trial, reach out to Cody at workflowsecrets.info or Mark at workflowsecrets.info, and we can bump you up for another 14 days.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll make sure you get that 14 days. Ultimately, I want to give you guys the best look possible. I think it's really important that your technology works for you, and I really want the opportunity to prove to you that SAM is going to do that. So we need to kind of start with systems. What are systems? And I like to call it the map, right? So I'd love to hear, Mark, this is kind of your area of focus, but just let's talk about it.
Yeah. So systems, if you don't have systems, and systems is just a series of things that happen either manually or automatically. I mean, there can be processes that you do manually sending emails, sending text messages, things like that, checklists of things that you need to do. These are all systems, but there's also automated systems. And one of the keys to you building a strong business is making sure that your automations are in place with your systems. And what does that really mean? Well, we can go through and we can create separate steps of things that need to happen. And once you set those up, they can be repeated over and over and over again. The advantage there is that you can scale your business where if you don't have those systems in place, otherwise you won't be able to scale. Scaling means we can do more things in less time, right? So it's really important that we deal with that and make sure that your systems are set up. Most of the gurus out there, the technology gurus, they'll tell you that how they are not technology, the real estate gurus that use technology, they will tell you how important using that technology was, but they don't always share with you the things that they've done. Yeah. So what we want to do is help share that, give you that secret of the gurus that are out there. And with the experience that I've gotten through the past 3 decades of doing this, I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot how real estate agents work. And many times it's just a matter of tweaking some of the things that you're doing. You may already have a process, you just don't have it written down, or you don't have it in a repeatable process. You know it up here, but you don't have the actual process for you. So we want to take you through that and go through that.
Absolutely. And I like to say, time and time again, this is actually one of my favorite things to do when I am meeting with agent friends. I ask them just pretty point blank, do you have any automated systems? It's like my favorite thing to do. Obviously, we're systems focused individuals, and most of the time they'll put their head down and kind of kick the can a little, and ultimately they admit, I don't have them, but I know I need them. And so then this gives me a really opportunity to probe, why not? And it has come down to these 2 things, and you kind of alluded to them, Mark, but it's time. They either don't have enough time in the day, they're too focused on serving client needs, driving from listing to listing, working with past clients. Now they have to do lead generation, or maybe the systems that their broker provided or that they have access to simply cannot do this for them. So it's either time or technology. These are my 2 guiding principles for what caused agents to fall behind. Well, NAR posted this stat a couple years ago, 2022, and it's gut-wrenching to me. 90% of agents leave the industry in the first 2 years. And I think that has a lot to do with them not building out these systems, adding automations to them, and allowing themselves to go forward. And ultimately, the agents, these gurus, right? I don't know that I consider many people a guru, but these are the agents who are building 100+ transaction businesses, who are leaving work at 3 p.m. to go pick up their kids and spend the evening with their family, or who have made a personal declaration that they're going to have a minimum of 2 weeks of vacation. And their secret is systems. So that's exactly what we're going to share today. Now, Mark, you've been sharing this for the last 34 years. I've spent the last 5 years studying with, working side by side you. And it wasn't until 2022 at the very end when OpenAI launched ChatGPT, you and I kind of peeked into it and realized there is something here for real estate agents. And maybe some of you guys were able to attend. We hosted several events trying to teach agents how to use AI initially. And all of these events were really fun. We had a lot of people come with a lot of energy and excitement, but then they would leave these events at what I call the glazed eye moment, right?
Absolutely.
And they found themselves overwhelmed, oftentimes because they have to learn how to write what are called prompts, or these Google search questions into these systems. And sometimes that takes 3 to 6 months to learn how to do. And I found myself saying, there has to be a better way. Well, entrepreneur by birth, I said, you know, I could start writing these prompts for them, and I will spend the rest of my life writing prompts.
Yeah.
And
we actually created a little book.
We did.
It's like 100 and something pages of just prompts that real estate agents can use to, you know, create different types of content. But maintaining that was,
it's a bear. And the ultimate thing is, like, you can teach a polar bear to hunt, but you can't go fishing in the cold, right? So I realized that there had to be a better solution. That's where Sam came from, this 1.0 that some of you have looked at. Maybe you have followed me long enough to see a little bit, but essentially what it allowed real estate agents to do is generate resources that they could use in their system or in their business. And it uses AI without them having to learn how to use these LLM, large language models, the chat GPTs of the world. Well,
and not have to have a prompt engineering background. I mean, so many of these prompts that we were creating were sophisticated, to say the least, but technically challenging. And you know, you had to go in there and really think about what you want, how you wanted it. And a lot of people were teaching, including us, were teaching here, you know, these are the basic questions. If you're going to interview somebody or talk to them, and tell them what you need. If you've got an assistant that you need to tell them, this is what I want, you have to be very specific in some cases. Well, being specific in a prompt is important, but creating that, becoming the prompt engineer is what the glaze eyes is like, oh, wow, I got to do that, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where I was really impressed with what you came up with.
Thank you.
1.0.
Yeah. And you know, as time moved on, I started getting a lot of people coming in who were trying our system, who were turning into customers. And I kind of realized I need something that can handle all of my people. And this is where the idea of what I've called the communication matrix, using routines, which we'll talk about tomorrow, these actual AI systems that we're going to build, was kind of born. Fast forward to the summer, you found yourself looking for new opportunities, and I know you've got your consulting gigs on the side that you work with real estate agents and a couple of other businesses, but I was able to kind of pitch an opportunity to you, and ultimately that's where Sam 2.0 has come out. And so this is the answer to having to work as an AI consultant or a prompt engineer. And you see them all across the industry, these people who are building automations for businesses using AI, charging tens of thousands of dollars, often
big bucks,
and then they hold the keys to the kingdom. Well, Sam 2.0 is going to do all that for you, but it's yours. And so you are going to have not only a CRM that is built in this decade and is going to have the power of AI, but you're able to use this system. And at every single step, we've gone through and we've made sure it's intuitive, and we made sure that it's easy for you guys to use. And so that brings us to, here's what you don't need to be successful.
Yeah, you don't need your MBA, your BS in computer engineering, in prompt engineering, all the different technology things that a lot of the systems out there that you need to know. You just don't need that. We've tried to make it extremely easy and intuitive, and there are some things, because of the way I've put in for the CRM part of it, we're going to be able to make this much more robust with just voice. I mean, you could go in there and say, hey, I need a routine for my birthday, and it could go in there and create it. Now, we're not there yet, but that's coming very soon, so that it could go through and create the entire content and everything for you with just very minimal effort.
That's right. And the ultimate goal, and I heard this time and time again at my last company, is agents who would purchase this piece of software. It was very complex, and they would say, I'm not tech savvy. You don't have to be tech savvy. Sam is going to simplify it. It's going to work with you. And this is the power of using modern tools. Technology has come so far over the last 3 decades. You know, most of these CRMs were coming out when Living La Vida Loca was on the top 10 of the charts, right? So that's kind of funny, you know, bust out your Jinko jeans and all. But the other thing it's going to do is you don't need a big technology budget. You don't need multiple tools. Sam is going to be able to work as your CRM. It's going to work as your automations and your workflows tool. It's going to be able to generate content for you. It's going to help keep track of things. And then we're actually working on building in a buyer side and a seller side piece for transactions. So we've got some really cool stuff, and it only gets sweeter from here. But if you find yourself saying, Cody, this is great, I already have a CRM, you don't necessarily need to let go of your CRM. I know a lot of CRMs are broker provided, but this gives you, again, a tool of your own. And, you know,
that's probably the most important thing, because I cannot tell you how many agents that I've worked with that have gone from one brokerage to another for one reason or another. And if they are using a brokerage provided CRM, sometimes they allow you, most of the time they do allow you to take that data, but guess what? They still have your data. And so by you holding the keys to the kingdom with your own system, it's extremely important. And we've created the tools to allow that, to be able to make that an easy process for bringing information into SAM 2.0 and making sure that you can use your data the way you want, and it is yours. It's yours to use how you want.
Yeah. So with that, let's kind of dive into today's key concepts, and it all starts with this idea of what is a system. Well, I like to say a system is a series of tasks that use repeatable processes. Now, often you call these workflows, and these things are done on items inside your business, inside your life, really, that are happening again and again. And oftentimes when you're able to identify these systems, you can start to remove all of these manual tasks from your life. I like to say that if I spend 3 minutes writing an email, but I have to write that email each and every day, well, by the end of the year, that's almost 20 hours on just that one 3-minute email. So this idea comes to the autonomy of scale, right? The power of the compound effect, if you will. You know, these efforts stack on each other. So the bullseye focus on this that I really want you guys to understand is we all have systems in our life. I call them routines inside of SAM because we all have routines in our life. It's the morning routine where you wake up and you brush your teeth, you go shower, you make some coffee, then you head to work. Or maybe it's the routine you have in your business where you get into the office, you make coffee, you chat with Cheryl, then you go call all your past clients, make sure all their needs are met. You move to all of the pressing daily tasks, and then you finish with some outreach and really focus on how can we bring leads into our business.
It's just important that you know that you have workflows, you have routines, you have processes that you go through, but many times you just don't realize it. You don't recognize it, and you don't have it written down in a reproducible format of some sort.
That's right. And so ultimately the key idea is once you find these systems, you can start to streamline these tasks. That 3-minute email that I just gave you the example of, maybe we can add that into a system. It gets automated, and now I don't have to handle it. Well, now I have 3 minutes now. Sure, that's not much to do with anything. But at the end of the year, I have 20 hours. Now we've got a large chunk of time that could be reinvested into growing our business, could be reinvested to helping past customers or clients.
Just that nurture.
That nurture, yeah.
That you need.
Or heaven forbid, we go and spend a little bit of time with friends, family, or maybe finding a hobby that lights us up so that we can refill our cup at the end of the day. So this is the power at its core of these systems. And again, time and time again, these gurus share how their systems added in automations and allowed them those things. And so that's exactly what we're going to be working on through this event. So traditionally, Mark, talk to me about how you guys used to preach to building systems.
Yeah, so And this is still very much true. You can still do this, and it's something that I have taught for many years, is taking like a 2-week productivity log process. Every 30 minutes or so, go through the process of writing down, what am I doing at this moment? Don't judge it. Don't have to go into too much detail, but identify what is the thing that I'm doing. And you do that for 2 weeks, both you, your team, your assistant, each person. And then you get an idea of things that you're repeating in your business, some of the things that you're doing every day, maybe not realizing it. Sometimes you are realizing it, but it gets to a point where you can now see those things that you're doing. You can then take each of those ideas, those concepts and things that you're doing, write them on a sticky note, and then put them on a wall of some sort, and identify, okay, what are the things I'm doing for my leads? Any kind of lead process I'm putting in there, any kind of listing process of things, and sticking them, these little sticky notes on the wall to kind of give yourself a graph of what you're doing. And there's lots of technology ways of doing that. That's probably the most simple way of doing it, least technology way, and it gives you then the opportunity to kind of go and move things around on the wall and do the building of the concept of these routines or processes in a very low-tech way. The advantage of that is you can see what those processes are. You can see where the bottlenecks are, where am I being held up at a certain point? Am I not getting enough information either from my client or from one of my vendors? How can I improve that process? Is it an extra email? Is it an extra phone call? All these different things you can start thinking about whenever you're going through this process. And then once you, for the bigger workflows that we've always taught, then you start going in and you start putting all these activities in this one big giant workflow. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things that we've kind of come to realize is that process, while it's important to understand what you do for those 2 weeks, and we still need to capture that and do that, seeing everything in one big workflow can be extremely overwhelming. Mm-hmm. So the idea of a routine, where you do small things and you're building out small things, is a much better way of doing it.
That's right. And so that's where Sam comes in, right? We have the technology, and so this is how we can leverage AI-driven systems. So tools like Sam oftentimes can identify systems that are hidden right in front of you, right? And how I do that inside of Sam is I've narrowed down these routines into specific actions that occur. We call these important dates. So, for example, maybe a new lead comes in, and when they get added into your system, that important date can trigger the routine to happen. Well, now we only need to think about what is a world-class client experience going to be when that new lead comes in. And I don't have to think about, okay, well, I'm taking them through here and then sending it to here, and then I've got to do this and I've got to do that. It simplifies it. And I think it personally makes it much easier to kind of fathom, right?
It's like eating an elephant. Mm-hmm. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And that's how the routines are set up, so that you just build the routine based off of key dates of things, entry date, contract date, different things like that. That what is it that I want to do whenever I get a certain piece of information, and identifying when do I receive it. Once I receive it, or once I get some bit of information, that information then becomes the key date of receiving, that becomes the key date for the routine. Mm-hmm. And then it can progress through. So now you don't have to map out the entire workflow. You just have to map out, what do I want to do whenever I get this one thing?
Mm-hmm. And the really neat thing about using tools like Sam is they're always on. You can set it, and then the AI system is going to run, and it can even trigger other systems, other routines to run. So perhaps an important date gets triggered when a new lead comes in. It's going to run that new lead routine, but then maybe that at some point turns into a customer. Well, the customer date gets filled in, and now that routine can run. So you have the power to run these 24/7. They're always on, and they're personalized to you. And this is one of the coolest things
that's what so excites me about what you're doing.
Yeah, and we're going to dive into this tomorrow. So this is just a little sprinkle for you guys, but essentially Sam can utilize AI to understand personal information and details about the people that you're putting into your system. And so it empowers you to build better relationships. But then historically, we've been putting this information in our CRMs anyways. It's just not being used. And so that was something that my previous employer just kind of ground my gears. Is there's all this information. It's a fountain of wealth, and none of it's being used. It's just being hoarded or housed in these systems. And so Sam can use this. It can personalize communications. It can customize interactions. It can translate into different languages. And it's going to make sure that it sounds personal. And we're going to do it a couple of different ways. And that's what we're going to be diving into today. We're going to be building the groundwork for these systems. But man, it's been really cool to watch how we can leverage technology. So the very first thing that we need to do to be able to leverage that, to be able to really personalize these, is we need to define your real estate niche. Well, what is a niche, right? Your niche is the specific area you focus in on, right? So perhaps it's luxury homes, perhaps it's first-time home buyers, maybe it's commercial real estate. You need to find out what specific area of real estate you need to focus on. Now, I would wager most of us probably know exactly what our niche is, exactly who we help. Maybe it's based on local market or just personal preference or knowledge.
The challenge is many times somebody will say, well, my niche is anybody that buys or sells a house.
Right.
It's like, well, let's narrow it down a lot more, because we can then really focus in on our content, on the creation of that content to somebody's needs. So if I see a flyer of something, or an ad or whatever, a Facebook post, and it's so generic, it's like a white car. You know, you don't see all the white cars until you buy a white car. Then it's like, oh, all these white cars are out there. If you don't focus in on a particular niche and use that as your driving focus of your content that you're doing, then whenever somebody sees something and they have a particular need, maybe they are looking for a luxury home, but your thing just talks about buying or selling homes. They really want a luxury home. Or a first-time home buyer wants to know things about, I've never bought a house before. What should I, do? And if you can create that content for that specific first-time buyer, then they turn their head. They see you for what you are and what you're specializing in, and that then becomes the focus of everything that you do to get that lead. And that lead then is more trained in on what you're providing.
That's right. And I have a background in marketing, and I've made hundreds of different Facebook advertisements, or really social media ads, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, as well as posting onto Google and the different search engines. And when it's all said and done, you make a really great point, Mark. Do you want to cast out a net to every person in the United States? Or do you want to say, I only work with people who are looking for luxury homes, and I am an expert in luxury homes. You are going to have an incredible experience when you work with me to buy your specific luxury home. Who do you want to work with, right? You want to work with an expert. And so you might think, I'm here as a real estate agent to help anyone who would like to buy or sell a home.
They breathe and have a pulse.
Yeah, and that sounds great, but when you are trying to compete against people who are specialists, it's going to be really hard. So that's the power in defining your niche. Well, how do you do it? Reflect on your strengths. You can observe what your specific market is looking for, what property types are in the area, maybe what clients you've helped in the past. You can see a pattern. Or
who are those people that you really enjoyed helping? There's a lot of people that you don't enjoy helping.
That's right. That's
and
right.
You really don't want to attract that style of person. But if you really enjoyed helping that first-time home buyer, and you see the smiles on their faces, and answer the questions and do the things. And yeah, there's a lot of hand-holding for first-time home buyers, but the goal is to give that world-class experience for everybody. But if you specialize in a certain niche, you can really focus in on how can I serve this one niche so much so that they have other people in their lives they would want to refer similar like-minded people to me.
Yeah. So we are in just a second going to dive into adding our niche into SAM. And I'll show you guys exactly how. But before we do that, there's a couple other concepts. Now, the next one is creating your member voice. Now, member voice, perhaps I got a little technical with this one, but essentially it's your writing style or the way you like to communicate, your unique voice.
Your voice.
And the power in both knowing and identifying your voice is you can create messages that are uniform across all platforms, but they come off very honest, very organic. And this is a way to combat against the epidemic, I'll call it, of the dark side of AI, where people are just creating content and throwing it onto the web. They're never proofreading it half the time. And now we can leverage AI. We can write these messages very quickly, but they're going to be custom. They're going to sound like us.
Sounding like you is the important part, because if I get a piece of content and I'm reading through it or looking at it in some way, and then I come and I meet you and I talk to you, and it's like there's a divide there, if you don't have that voice set up. So I can recognize that, hey, this person I like to read about, I also would want to work with. And if you're keeping your voice the same as what you really are, it builds that bridge.
That's right. And so once we have our voice, we can also throw that into the profile section of SAM. We'll show you guys exactly how. And so these messages can be specific to the people we want to talk to. They're going to sound like us. And we're already halfway there to creating content using the power of SAM, using AI much quicker. And then the last area that we're going to kind of dive into before we start building all this out is the core strategies framework. This is one of my favorite ones of Mark's teaching philosophy. So Mark, tell us about the core strategies framework.
Yeah, so core strategies is an acronym, or CORE, C-O-R-E, is an acronym for the 4 areas of your business. Technically it's 3 plus 1, but the 3 main areas would be your conversions. Those leads that you get in, how do you convert them? You want them as some kind of not just a lead. You don't want to bring in just names. You want to convert them into an actual deal. So the conversion part of it is one aspect of what you do. So we create content just dealing with bringing in leads, nurturing those leads until they get to the point at which they sign on the dotted line with a listing agreement or a buyer's agreement. The O is your operations. What are the things that you do to make money? It really comes down to that. What are the processes that you're doing for your marketing, your listings, your transactions, from the time they sign that listing agreement or buyer's agreement all the way to closing day? That's pretty much your operations, and that's your moneymaker, okay? And then the retention is the back end of that. Once they've closed, how do you retain them? Either through your past clients and retaining them. You're not going to be doing anything with them probably for another 3, 7, 12 years, possibly. It's getting longer and longer. But you have to nurture those leads after the fact, and that's the retention area. They're hopefully going to give you referrals. They're going to give you things that will do business in the future. And, you know, doing the work now pays dividends. But then you wrap all three of those, the conversions, the operations, and retention, in what I call the experience. Making a world-class experience that they remember, that is so special that they want to tell others about you. And that's where the referrals come in. If you get your core strategies in place and get them, what I like to call, leveled out, then your business becomes a lot less sporadic. And what I mean by that is, so many times people get into this phase of, oh, I need more leads. I need more leads. They start pumping out content and doing things to bring in more leads. And, you know, that process of doing all that work makes their operations less important. And with it lagging, and you're spending so much time in your operations, this is what causes this flux of up and down in your business. You're either feast or famine. And if you can get your conversions part of your business leveled out, where it's constant, it's doing what it's supposed to do, you're bringing in constant leads all the time, and it's you've got systems in place that are maintaining and nurturing and doing the things that need to happen, then you can spend time also in your operations, and your operations is working while everything is happening at the same time. So you're not spending so much time in one area or the other, conversions, operations, or retention. If you can level that out, life becomes so much more fun because you're not having to go put out one fire or another. You've got the systems in place that just work because you've set them up that way, and the automation then helps do the things for you that need to be automated. Not everything can be automated. Right. Not everything should be automated. Mm-hmm. There are things that you have to do. You know, that is part of business. But if you set up your systems, and using the core strategies, it gets to a point where life gets fun again, because you're not in this up and down roller coaster of feast and famine.
That's right. So once we have our core score or our core framework identified, we can actually break this out into different focuses. And we're going to dive into that using SAM, right? So now would be, if you're a VIP, you've already gotten the 14-day trial, you can go ahead and hop into your SAM. If not, I know you're going to be getting your VIP, but go ahead, hop over to sam.workflowsecrets.info and follow along. So I am inside of SAM 2.0 right now. This is the very first, world first look at SAM 2.0. I would like to welcome you guys. But what we're going to do first is we're actually on the top right-hand side going to be clicking on next to your name. It should say hi and then your name. For me, it says hi, Cody. And then there's a little white icon that should have your initials. So for me, it's going to say CS. I'm going to click that, and there's going to be a drop down. From here, we're going to hit profile. And this is going to be your profile area or your settings area. Well, lots of different settings you can fill out. And I would encourage you guys to maybe do this as a little bit of homework to build out your broker as well as your company information. But we're going to go ahead and skip all the way down to your team. Now, as a trialer, you only have one team member, but when you subscribe to SAM, you have the potential to have different numbers of team members based on the different account you have, right? So you're going to see one that says account owner, and that's going to be yours. So go ahead and click on that, and we are going to start building in some of these details, right? So the very first detail that we're going to be building in might be familiar. It's your member niche, right? And so just like I had stated earlier, I have 3 member niches. Maybe you have 1, maybe you have 25, who knows? But you can add your member niches here. And what we're doing is we're giving Sam context of who you like to work with. Now, Sam's pretty smart. That's the power of AI. It's actually read every book that has currently ever been written. And so Sam has the ability to understand what does a first-time home buyer mean. But if you have multiples, just semicolon separate them, and you'll be ready to go. Now, after that, we can start working on our member voice. And excuse me, I'm not good with Mac, so scrolling's a little hard. But our member voice. Now, to the right-hand side, you'll notice there are different attributes that you can start to input. So maybe you have a good idea of what kind of attributes you have in your writing style. Again, maybe you talked to some friends or your family members and they've helped you out. But if for some reason you're like, I'm not quite sure, on the left-hand side, I built in analyze content. You click on this, you can paste in a writing sample, and Sam will write, or he'll read it and he'll tell you what your attributes are. So you have the ability to go one of either way. Now, once we have this all done, on the top right-hand side, right under our hi and your name, there's a save button. Go ahead and click save. And this is going to be a good first step for us.
You know, one of the things that came about when we first started talking about OpenAI, ChatGPT, all that kind of stuff, was how important this type of information is whenever you're generating content. The problem was well, anytime you went in and you wanted to create it, you had to repeat this stuff over and over again. So by putting it in one time, getting this information into the system and letting it know who you are, what your voice is, the pertinent information about you, then it can use that information anytime that it's creating the content. So it's extremely important that you get this basic information actually in place.
That's right. So from here, now we can actually start to apply our core strategies framework and create that lead magnet that we were talking about today. So these might look familiar. If you go on the left-hand side to the generations tab, we're going to see our core elements, and these are all things that we can generate. So basically, you have the ability inside of SAM to create resources in any four of these core strategy framework elements, right, or areas. Today, we're going to be working on our conversions side, specifically building out a lead magnet. And I'm going to let Mark throw or talk you guys through this one.
Yeah, so this is really nice. Again, you can do this type of stuff through ChatGPT. It's certainly possible, but you have to become that prompt engineer to do the things that we're doing right here. With Sam, you don't have to worry about that. It's much easier. So in this case, if we want to create a lead magnet, we want to create a lead magnet. What kind of lead magnet do we want to do? Do we want to do like some kind of bullet list, cheat sheet, explainer? I mean, there's lots of different things, different topics of things that you can use. You know, you might choose a guide, you know, of some sort, something that identifies that you want to guide a first-time home buyer. So here is, okay, this, because we have multiple members or can't have multiple members using users in the system, you can choose which user is you're creating this for, what niche that you want to focus in on for this guide. And you can, you know, pick from the niches that you've specified in the setup. If you want to change something, you certainly can. You can even just type in, if you want to create something brand new, you can just type in your niche right in there. So it gives you a few different options there. But then what is that member voice? These are the different attributes of how you speak and how you convey information. So how, you know, what are those keywords? And then you come in here and say, what's the objective of this lead magnet? What am I really wanting to identify as my purpose of having this lead magnet, you know? And it goes ahead and gives you a suggestion, but, you know, you definitely type in what you want, you know, engage with guide content to convert potential leads into clients. You know, it's very generic. You could go in there and make that much more poignant in what you want, but we're just going to go with that for now. Now, normally, as part of ChatGPT, if you were to do this, you would go in there and say, A lot of the coaches out there, people that are telling you how to use ChatGPT, will say, well, ask ChatGPT to ask you questions about this piece. Well, you know, having that knowledge of asking is one thing, but what we do is we come in here and we allow you to just click the continue button, and it knows it needs to ask you questions. Okay, it does that refining of what the purpose is, the objective of this. And not only does it ask you the question, it knows that you're doing first-time home buyers. It knows you're creating a lead magnet. What's the refining question here is, you know, how can we effectively grab the attention of the first-time home buyer? What is there something that you're wanting to focus on for this one particular lead magnet? And you know, it comes up with a potential answer for you, but definitely go in there, read through it. Is it really what I want to do? If not, create your own answer in there. Okay, but it does, because it has read all the books and all the things about first-time home buyers and lead magnets. It kind of knows, well, this is pretty much what people would want, so it answers it for you. So you go through and you answer some of these questions. If it's a question you don't think is important, you can thumbs down, and it goes away. You know, it's not something you need to worry about, but you can pick and choose which ones of these questions you want. The other advantage of doing it this way is that you don't have to go into ChatGPT, cut, copy, paste, retype, type more, you know, and make the mistake of, you know, doing different questions at different times. It all brings it all together all in one spot. Once you've typed in what you want for each of the questions, the refining questions, you can just click on continue.
And I would encourage you, go through each of these questions and add to them. This is the power of you as the expert. You're infusing your expertise into that. Now, after that, it's going to generate a first draft for you guys. Now, this is where a lot of people would like copy it from ChatGPT, throw it into their marketing, and then just like dust off their hands, call it a good day. But ultimately, you need to do some refining or some editing. You need to really, like I said, infuse yourself into this. You're the expert, and you need to stay in the driver's seat. And this is a good first step. This is going to give you some direction, but go ahead and read through it and focus in on each of the different pieces. Now, there are some buttons down here that Mark's playing with. We can either regenerate or basically have Sam try again. We can refine by giving Sam specific corrections. We can also expand, which is what Mark is doing right now. So as you can see now, there's section 1, section 2, all the way through 4. When you expand, Sam's able to increase the content in either selected sections or all of the sections so that you have a greater piece. Now, the ultimate goal with this specific lead magnet is to build something, again, that is really helpful to our people. And so the process that I like to go through is kind of surveying, like, what are answers to questions that I'm oftentimes giving? And now I can start to infuse those as lead magnets, right? So from here, we can then start to edit. We click that little edit button, and it's going to open up an editor window, and we can start to go through all of this. Now, this is going to be our homework for tonight. So we can go through all of this. Once you've got it done, you can hit OK. You can save this. And now you have your very first lead magnet that you can use. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over, and we're just going to keep moving along within the process. But that is how we build a lead magnet. So let's do a little recap of what we've talked through today. First, we dove into systems, the fact that these are repeatable processes that exist in your life as well as your business. And when we find them, when we identify them, we can start to look at which ones can we remove from having to do manually. Well, when we do that, life gets much better, right? Then we've looked at our real estate niche, the people we help, as well as how we can define our specific voice or our writing style. And then Mark dove into the core strategies, conversions, operations, retentions, and experiences. These are the 4 core areas we need to have good systems. Well, once we have those identified, we can start building lead magnets. And so, like I said, your final action for today is going to be going in with that resource that we just built, clean it up, make sure it sounds like you and is valuable to a person. Make sure that it aligns with the people you're trying to help and it sounds and is written in your voice. Then also, I personally, like I said, I'm a marketer. I like to make sure that we have a call to action on all of our content. Now, maybe this call to action is to send you a message and find a time that you two can meet for coffee or a conversation via the phone. But something needs to happen after this. We need to encourage them to take that next step. So how this plays out, you guys go back into SAM, review the resource, use that tool set at the very bottom to edit and refine, really infuse yourself into it. But then the ultimate formula for this is you're going to build a lead magnet based on content that you know your dream customer is looking for
that niche,
for that specific niche. Now, this comes into play with SEO, search engine optimization, basically Google helping serve that content to people, or maybe you point some social media advertisements or posts to it, and you can start sending people that direction. Hey, if you're a first-time home buyer looking to understand tips, tricks, and traps, this is the thing for you. Well, after that, you post it onto your website. That's where you're sending them. You trade their details for that resource, and then you send it to them.
And because it's a very pointed, very niche-driven content piece, they are more likely to give you that email, that name and email because of it. If it's just something that, how to buy or sell a home, it's like, I can get that anywhere.
Yeah.
But if it's something specific, how first-time home buyers, save money on first-time home buyer, things, whatever you want to create that as, that then becomes something unique that you can provide that no other agent in your area is providing that one piece. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to drive them to give you that content, more likely give it to you because it is so specific to that neck turn because of the white car. You are meeting their need, their specific need, and they want to find out the information that you've got, so they're going to give you that information.
That's right. And now you're the expert. You've already solved one of their problems. You've given them knowledge. Why wouldn't they want to work with you, right? And so that's the focus of today, is this bringing in of leads, using this lead magnet, maybe for a first-time home buyer, maybe for something else, but specifically this. Now, again, tomorrow we're going to be diving into how we actually build that AI system. And what we're going to do is we're going to sit down and we're going to show you guys how to build a routine inside SAM that can take this resource. When they trade their details, you plug those into SAM. It'll hold all of those contact details for you. And it can also trigger that resource to be sent to them automatically. So now you're only having to start bringing in leads, start building relationships with them, and your technology is going to start doing the rest. Now, other than that, shortly following this, we're going to have a VIP session. And if you guys have any additional questions, if you want to sit there and really make sure you work on your resource, you're more than welcome to do that. And, maybe me and Mark will just anecdotally start sharing some more thoughts, feelings, and opinions that we have.
Absolutely. It's the first step. Mm-hmm. In whatever you're going to do, you have to take that first step. And, for some of you, you may have already done this. You've got your niche, you've got, content, you've got things on your website. That's perfect. I mean, that's what you need. We needed to make sure that that piece was in place today so that the following 2 days of this will actually make progress on. So,
mm-hmm. Yeah. And like you said, if you've already got this, you're ahead of the game, and that's awesome. We're going to equip you with the tools to be able to finish. So other than that, You know, I'm so grateful for you guys coming. If you signed up for our VIP, you can go ahead and hop over. There is a second VIP room that we're going to be opening up in just a second, and we'll get going there. But other than that, we will see you guys tomorrow, and we're going to go day 2. We're going to dive into how to build that routine, and I'm really excited. We've got a lot of cool stuff, but
absolutely.
Other than that, Mark, do you?
I want to give them just a quick little taste. I know we're just right there, but one of the things that may help you guys understand, you know, where we're going with this. Again, this is kind of like the first rendition of SAM, even though it's 2.0. The 2.0 is the contact, the calendar, the outbox. We've got sections in there for your database, your CRM piece. We've got your calendar in there, being able to, you know, put things like that into your system. We've got an outbox, which whenever you create your whenever you are sending out emails, your content's being created as either an email or an SMS, and it then gets sent. If it's AI driven, we do require you to go in there and basically approve it. So maybe you've got some things that you didn't send that you should have. It wasn't approved or whatever. Things that are upcoming, things that you did send, but you can, you know, go in there. You can create emails and stuff manually and just send it. Or if it's generated for you, you want to make sure that it's what you meant to send, you know, proofread it, stuff like that. It will then show you in here a sample of what you're going to be sending, and you have to approve it before you actually send it out. That's an important piece. We do have an area in here for making phone calls and calling from your system. All the different templates, being able to set up templates for emails and SMS. And something that we do very different in SAM is we give the user the ability to have a template for both, because ultimately you want to get to that contact in the method that they want to be gotten to in the first place. Millennials,
I don't like the phone. Don't call me.
Yeah, don't call. But you know, do you prefer email or text?
I'll probably check my email once a day. I am constantly looking at my phone for text messages.
Absolutely. So what that means is whenever I'm sending stuff, I'm really better off sending him a text. But for me, I prefer email. So each contact can have their preferred method, and you can set up your templates to be just that, either mail, the email content, or SMS content. And while it looks different, it's basically portraying the same type of information. We've got stuff in there for that. Being able to track those emails to see, you know, were they processed, were they delivered, were they opened, you know, how many were opened, all that kind of stuff. So those are things in there. We're going to get into the routines tomorrow and how you set up a routine for birthdays, anniversaries, for closings and stuff like that. We want to make sure that those types of things are in there, and how you set those up is what we'll be going over. So I really look forward to what we've got to give you guys. Just realize this is just scratching the surface. So it's really important that you understand that. So guys, thank you so much for attending. And if there's anything else, reach out to us. Mark at workflowsecrets.info.
Or Cody at workflowsecrets.info. But we will be hopping over to our VIP room, and we will see you guys there.